Hola! So I usually don't go live because, believe it or not, despite popular belief, I am very shy. So, it was this sort of impromptu that I wanted to go live because sometimes when you do so many stories back to back, it's a little daunting because you type things on the bottom. So basically, I just wanted to talk about my race really quick. And because I'm finally feeling a little bit better. I never ran a hilly race like that in my life. And a lot of people's races were canceled. So I was scrambling. I didn't want to feel defeated with all this training miles that I put underneath me. I had to find something. And when I first saw the race, the elevation looked mostly down. And so I chose it because I was like, okay, well, it doesn't look too bad. Boy, I was not prepared for the mental challenge on top of the physical challenge. But I have no regrets. I have no regrets choosing the hilly race. I just wanted to talk about it really quick. I didn't notice it when I was going downhill when I chose it. And by the way, Utah is beautiful. If you have not been, it's worth it. The people there were very kind. All the Uber drivers, all the restaurants, the hotel staff, everything was amazing. The scenes were amazing. The mountains, the forest, the lakes, the deer that hopped in front of me, the cows, the donkeys. I saw it all in Utah. All the things that I don't see in flat-ass Florida, let's be honest. So I have no regrets, but I will not be choosing a hilly race for a minute. But the first 5 miles were straight downhill. It wasn't steep, it was gradual, but it was definitely downhill. And I did not notice that my shoe was banging the top of my toes were banging the top of my shoe. I didn't really notice it initially, but I noticed it halfway through because they started to hurt. It was very painful. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Not painful, that's kind of exaggerating. Sensitive, very sensitive. So when I was going down, I was running with the moon. The moon there was no lights because I was in the mountains, but I didn't feel like alone or anything. But the moon lit up the road so I could see. And going downhill felt like, yeah, I'm a gazelle. I'm going to make good time, right? Wrong. It did feel good in the beginning because I didn't have to race. The gravity was pulling me down. But then after a while, it kind of straightened out, which was cool. I was totally down with it. But then mile 10, I started having bathroom issues. It wasn't that bad, but I needed to go. And then 2, we were climbing uphill, straight uphill. I was taxed already by mile 10. I didn't realize how much taxing going downhill will kick your ass like that. It was a lot of lessons learned, but I still have no regrets for choosing that race. It was amazing. And I always run in Ultra Escalantes because it's a lightweight and I'm a flat foot runner and I like lightweight shoes, and I've raced in them for 2 years, and I've 2 or 3 years actually, and I never had problems before. And it's not like I didn't have problems, I just didn't train hills. And so just want to tell you guys that when I got into half marathon 13.1 between 13 and 16, boy, it was very emotional. When I got to mile 20, I was crying off and on just because I was like, I don't know if I can keep going. I was feeling everything on my body, the tenderness of the running, my legs. It was starting to take a toll on my body for sure, without a doubt. And my husband called me, I don't even know what mile, I should have documented it. Talked to me, told me, he goes, it doesn't matter about the time. He goes, I know you're upset about the time. He goes, it's experiences, so many people rooting for you. Don't quit, keep going. You're showing what's possible. And so in my mind, I was like, I cannot do a DNF. A DNF is do not finish, and I know a lot of runners who've had DNFs and they kick their ass for it. Some people have no choice when they have a DNF, but some people quit because it's so freaking hard. And I just told myself, I've never had a DNF before. I'm going to keep going, but I was tears. And then my son unexpectedly called me like around mile 20 something also. And my husband was super proud because he didn't even tell my son to call me. And he's like, Mom, I see you're walking. Come on, pick it up. And I'm like, I'm trying, son. So I have to say between mile 24 and 26, the last 2 miles of the race were the hardest. It was in the city. I was already past the mountains, but you're turning corners. You don't know. It's only 300 runners, 350. It was I run in races that have 40,000 people. So not seeing any crowd support was very daunting on my spirit. So, and not knowing if I made the wrong turn because of the fact there was no crowd support. So that was really hard. And there was nothing, I'm not mad that there was no crowd support, but it's a new mental challenge that that I've never experienced before. So I did walk most of the last 2 miles just because my body could not pick up the feet, no matter how much I kept telling myself I can do this, because normally the last 5K I can say only 10 more minutes. I can talk to myself, but I was struggling even to talk to myself. So I just want to tell you that, you guys, thank you so much, because I've gotten so much feedback and messages of how proud they were of me for fighting for it, because it was definitely, even though it was the most beautiful race I've been in, it was definitely one of the hardest races I've been in. Lack of crowd support, which is nothing, I'm not mad at the city for that. It was just #virus and the smallest race I've ever been in. So the hills, the heat, by the time 10 something arrived, it was like almost 90-degree weather. It started off in the 50s because I was in the mountains. Just all of it taxing, super taxing, and I'm just trying to hold back tears right now. I learned a lot. I learned a lot about myself, that I can do hard things. I still can't believe I was running in freaking Utah, of all the places. I'm back in Florida, and that I can overcome obstacles and climb mountains. And it was definitely a growth experience, and I had issues with the plane. I had to stay overnight in Atlanta because some lavatory issues. So being without family, it was the first time I ever ran a race with nobody at the finish line. And that was my 17th state marathon. I've ran 18 marathons, but that was my 17th state, and I dreamed to run all the states. And I'll be 45 in a month, y'all. Less than a month, I'll be 45. Didn't start running until I was 36 years old. Was never an athlete. Fell in love with running by chance. And I actually run Omaha, Nebraska in 2 weeks. Like less than 2 weeks. What the hell is in Nebraska? I run Omaha, Nebraska in 2 weeks, and it's mostly flat. Thank you. So my husband told me, why don't you skip out this year? Hell no, I'm not skipping out this year. And people wonder, why are you flying? Why not? I'm not going to let some damn virus stop me from achieving all the things that I ever wanted, which is all the 50 states. And I have this one life to live, and I'm not promised tomorrow. So just want to say thank you all for the love. I just wanted to share my experience, and if you have questions, yes, I do. I was plant-based mostly. In the last 3-4 months, I picked up eating fish because my body was older, going through menopause. I'm 44. I needed to get omegas, and I didn't want to have to take supplements, so I started adding back seafood after 5 years, and I feel so much better. So just wanted to tell you guys I'm here for you too. You guys root for me, so I'm rooting for you. And if you guys ever need any support at all, I'm just a message away. Learned a lot. Won't be signing up for Hills anytime soon. And if you need anything at all, just know I'm rooting for you too. And hope this video helped you. If if you learn something at all, feel free to share or tag, whatever. I'm going to put it onto my stories or into my IGTV feed. And I love you guys, and sending it all right back. Back on track today and getting my steps in because these legs needed a stretch out because they are still super sore. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.